Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello and welcome to the finale of Dark Souls, The Daughters of Ash mod. This will be the final episode in this series, and I stress this series because we will be going through New Game Plus and probably an entirely new cycle as well on stream. More details on that to come just as soon as I have them available. Now, you might notice that I look a little silly because the Crown of Gold, even though I read it last episode, one thing I didn't notice was that it actually boosted your damage. In fact, it boosted a number of things. So let me put the sack on and then we'll kind of compare it. So if you take a look, it gives me an extra 80 points in damage, which is incredible. It gives me some extra HP, I thought, although for some reason that's just, oh, it looks like just putting on anything gives you a single HP more. That's interesting. But you can see the strength goes up everywhere. It also does give me some poison resistance, some curse resistance. Overall, not a bad item, even though, whoops, I actually meant to wear it. You do look a little bit silly. So we have a number of things to accomplish in this final episode. First, in the final episode, I am finally going to start playing around a little bit more with the runes. In fact, that's why we're here talking to my good friend Griggs. I've already given him the embers, but now what we need to do is we're going to change this. Oh, wait a second. Why can't I change my Zweihander into a magic Zweihander? What am I missing? Oh, because I didn't actually upgrade it. There we go. Now it's +5. I thought I did that at the bonfire. Okay, so turn this into a magic Zweihander. And then we need to upgrade this to +5, which I do believe I have enough of the green titanites. Hopefully. Yes, just enough. Perfect. And now we're going to modify this into a runic Zweihander. And we're going to get that all the way up to +5, and we're going to play around with some of these different runes. So there it is. Upgrade this all the way. Now notice the damage doesn't go up. That's because apparently it doesn't increase the damage. Oh, I need a slab. I never got a slab. Interesting. Where could I have gotten a slab? I do feel like I must have missed out on it somewhere. Anyway, let's go back to Firelink Shrine. Couple of quick things to do there, and then it's down to the demon ruins. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to put on some of these. So we got the Sable, the Lustrous, the Wraith, and what else? So Scintilla. So let's take a look at these. Discard this rune shortly after. Okay, so the Sable Rune works in the dark. The Lustrous works in the light. We've already teased those out. The Wraith Rune. Many Tales, Speak of Ghosts of the Dead. I'm not really sure. And then the Scintilla. Once again, not really sure. So we're going to have to just play around and see what works. Let's start with the... we'll do the Sable Rune. This is the one that should work in the dark. Now we're coming this way for two reasons. Number one, Patches is here. I want to see if his inventory has changed at all, but also I want to kill my good friend Petrus here. Because I am just not a fan. Look at that. So this must be, oh, because the world is dark. Because the world is dark, the Sable Rune would probably work just about anywhere, which is really cool. If you notice, the first time we used that, we were getting Magic Weapon, possibly Great Magic Weapon, but now we're actually getting Crystal Magic Weapon, and that's because we've upgraded the weapon itself. Got some humanity. Oh, we got the Ivory Talisman, which means he's already killed Rhea. I was wondering where Rhea went, and I just couldn't for the life of me figure it out. Now the Lustrous Rune. Question is, will this still work? Oh, you're already here? No, because the world is now dark, so I guess this just wouldn't work at all? That's a shame. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take the Lustrous off, and let's put on the Pale White. We'll kind of take them off as we know that they either don't work or what. Nope. Of course, I should probably use it if I'm going to play with it, right? There we are, but here is Petrus. Let's see if he's changed at all. Oh, he sells sunlight elixirs. They're a little bit, well, a little bit. They're 20,000 souls. That is a bit much, but I think we're going to be using these down when we're trying to cross the lava because it does boost fire defense. We also, and I was looking through my inventory, we have the Cold Tearstone Ring, which says that it works at low health to greatly increase fire defense. So I think that's something we're also going to be playing with. We got Heal and Great Heal Excerpt. Ooh, the Crescent Axe. I do like the Crescent Axe. And then he sells all the masks. Oh, he sells the Cleric Armor. Cleric Armor is actually pretty cool looking. I may want to pick all this up before I end the game, or I end this new game cycle. Alright, well, we have some weak enemies here. Let's get some skeletons, see if the Pale White Rune will do anything. Activate a couple of these. Come on, wakey wakey. Alright. And trying to see if anything is changing. Doesn't appear so. Okay. So still no clue what the Pale White Rune does. Many of the arcane phrases in... Oh wait, this is the one that boosts the power of spells, duh. Which we aren't casting any spells, although we could. Now that I think about it, because we do have this. So let's get my talisman on the left hand. I did finally equip my spears, my sunlight spears. Or my lightning spears, rather. So let me get... Oh my goodness, I have so much in my inventory. And I didn't put anything in my bottomless box because you all were telling me that I need to be very careful with that. I think what we'll do is the magic adjust is 131. The Thorolund is actually better, so we'll keep the Thor... And I just didn't change it. Oh my goodness. But I didn't put anything in my bottomless box because I was warned that not having certain items at certain times could potentially lock me out of some content. So I didn't actually change anything or put anything away. So we've used this. So what we need to do is we need to hit a skeleton with lightning spear. And I know there are more. I think there's actually more up behind this large... Yeah, here we go. So here are a couple that we can play with. Okay. 292. And I actually didn't need to do that. Oh, but now we need to hit something and then cast right away. And we may be out of skeletons. Except this one. And having one isn't going to do me any good because I need to kill one or hit one. Oh, wait. Maybe we're in luck. Is it just the big guy? Is he all that remains? Something spawned. Something spawned. I heard another one. Oh, didn't mean to jump there. Kind of forgot that I wasn't blocking. Let me see where... Oh, here we go. This is perfect. This is perfect. Let us... So what I need to do, because I want to do it against the same type of enemy. Okay. And 292. So I wonder if this truly isn't a spell and this is just a miracle. So it might just be sorcery only. And if so, that's not going to do us any good. Let's try the Reaper's Rune. Of course, we're running out of enemies to try. We may just have to play with this when we're down in the Demon Ruins. Now, the next thing I want to do, I have not talked to Framed, I have not talked to Kath, and I believe I was told that they both have items for me, and that's why I haven't done it. Also, I wanted to check the rest of the Xanthus gear really quickly, see how much it is. Also, I can buy Smo's armor now. I can buy Smo, so I can buy the Iron Golem, of course the Armor of the Glorious, the Explorer set, Gwendolyn stuff. Crown of the Great Lord. Is this King Jariel's? No, this is from Gwyn. Why would I be able to buy this when I haven't faced him yet? Lord Gwyn, bearer of the Ultimate Soul, divided his power among his great clan before linking the flame. I can also buy... Wait a minute. The Xanthus crown is different than the crown of gold. I didn't even realize that. Interesting. So this is like the fake Xanthus set, maybe? I don't know. I kind of want this, though. If I'm being totally honest. I wonder if that has any special traits. We need to find this out real quick, like. So let's change this so we can kind of see what stats may be changing. Nope, I lose some power, gain a little bit of bleed resist, but that's it. Oh, bummer. Bummer. Right, so what we're doing now is I'm going to take the elevator up, make the jump over to the Undead Asylum return, because I want to talk to the bird. I want to talk to the bird that represents Velka's Pact and see if they have anything for me, even though I failed. I'm kind of thinking no, but we will see. And, oh, the bird's not even here anymore. Unless that's the bird now? Oh, hey, found Ingward. I thought maybe he just didn't even come up. You're not cursed, of course. Transient curse, resist curse, so nothing new there. All right. Well, cool. Now I know where he is. I may go through and do something I have never, ever done before. And I can't even speak to the bird up there. So yeah, I'm thinking that is just no longer viable. That is a shame. That is a shame. Oh, you know what? There's one other thing. So I got 2 out of the 3 statues. That one, you all did tell me in the comments, I needed to make the Hydra down in Ash Lake jump over me in order to activate that statue, which is incredibly cryptic. But the last one, the statue in the Cloister of Exiles, is something that I was not able to figure out. Now, before I even released the previous episode, I reached out to the people in Discord, some of my community members, to see if they were willing to give me some hints as to what maybe I needed to do. And I got a really good one from Chaotic Reaper, who gave me this amazingly written rhyming hint that suggested that it had to do with Manus. And someone else told me in the comments that the item I needed was already in my possession. So I have tried a couple of things, none of them worked, but I wanted to try this one on camera because I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think maybe I have to use this, and I probably don't want to be anywhere near NPCs. But the hint talked about apart from the world, and if there's anyone or anything that's apart from the world, it was Manus. He was not of the world anymore, he was of the abyss. So I'm thinking possibly using this? Possibly? We'll see. And there it is. Very cool. Okay, let's head to the Cloister of Exiles, and let's interact with that final statue before we head down to the Demon Ruins. This could also be a really good chance to check out the... I think, what did I just use? The Wraith Rune. I used the Wraith Rune now. What does this say? This talks about the Hunters of Ulusia. This might only work in the forest. It really might only work in the forest, but I've used it. Let's see if attacking these phalanxes will do anything. We also need to make sure we take care of these hollows because they love to sneak up on us when we're here. Oh, okay. And also there's something new up here. Huh. And then we'll talk about the rune. It's a humanity and the painted catalyst. But I've already gotten the painted catalyst. Didn't I get that from the Demon Fire Sage? So the Wraith Rune turns me in, oh jeepers, invisible. That is pretty cool. Okay, so we figured out the Wraith Rune. How about the Reaper Rune? What does that say? The Goddess of Sin, so this is a rune depicting Velka, it would see, delivered a harrowing punishment to the pair, but not before the theft of this accursed rune, which yearns for blood. Yearns for blood. Okay. Definitely sounds like it's activated upon killing. Not seeing anything changing here. Damage seems to be staying the same. No buffs are occurring. Or is it... Now it talks about that it yearns for blood. It doesn't necessarily mean the enemy's blood. It could be my own. Not sure that I understand the Reaper's rune. All right, let's go ahead and activate with this final statue. And activate meant to interact. Oh, Bond to Beyond. That just sounds so cool. By the way, I am wearing Guinevere's ring. Not really sure what this is going to do. It does say that it's going to summon the ghost of the disgrace. I don't know when, so I figure might as well have it on me at all times. So, bonds wear with eldritch truths. Okay, so if this isn't a call to Bloodborne, I don't know. What is secret forge bond crafted by Sen on the eve of her great inferno and shared only with Velka on the eve of her great inferno? Sen crafted eyes to see more worlds than any could fathom. So insight, eyes on the inside, more references to Bloodborne, and came to realize that the gods lifted up by her beleaguered lord were little more than vermin gnawing at the edges of a cosmic tapestry. Humanity, whatever it is, offers more insight than heavenly wisdom. So maybe would this change something about my person based on how much humanity I have? I mean, it doesn't seem to increase anything. If anything, it decreases it from what I'm currently wearing. I don't know. But we did finally get the last statue. I could not have done it without all of you, so thank you very, very much. I do appreciate that. What I'm going to do now is I'm leaving the Sable rune on. We know that that works. Reaper's rune, not really sure, but I have the Rhythm rune, and that's it. That and the Scintilla or Scintilla. So, time to go down to the Demon Ruins. We can play with them more down there. So I warped here directly from Firelink Shrine, and I saw Angi die, but also, I'm assuming this is going to be a Firekeeper soul, and it is. This wasn't here when I first chased King Jeremiah. Now, does this Firekeeper soul have anything unique? It does. Firekeeper soul is drawn for humanity, is a draw for humanity, and held within their bosoms below just a thin layer of skin are swarms of humanity that writhe and squirm. To her, the countless eggs which appeared were cradles for each tiny humanity. Belonged to a daughter of chaos. Shame. Now, I did hear some bug reports that this elevator wasn't allowing people to descend. Let's hope. And indeed, the elevator is working for me. And you know what isn't working for me? My microphone. Unfortunately, right in the middle of recording, apparently my mic decided to cut out yet again. So this will be post-commentary for the remainder of the episode, but I think that's actually going to work out just fine because there is a good amount of hopping around for the remainder of the episode as we run around, we test some runes, and we defeat the Centipede demon, and we also do just a couple of last-minute errands before we take on Lord Gwyn. So before we head deeper into the lava ruins here, let's go ahead try out the Rhythm rune, see if we can get anything accomplished here. Does not appear so. These runes are rather cryptic, like a lot of the other mysteries in this mod. Now, being that this is the last episode, if you have anything that you want to share, now is the time. So the comments are now a completely spoiler-full zone. Anything you want to share, make sure that you put it down in the comments for us all to see. If you are weary of spoilers still at this point, which is odd that you've now watched 30-something parts of this, maybe steer clear of the comments. You have been warned, or at least sufficiently mentioned. So we are going to attempt to take on the Centipede demon. Now, granted, this is post-commentary, so I do know how this ends, and I have some concerns about the Centipede demon fight, but I'll talk more about that as we get a little bit closer. So here I am using the Scintilla rune, and frankly, I do not figure out what most of these runes do. In fact, as far as I know, the Sable rune works in the dark, the Lustrous rune works in the light, and then it was the Reaper's rune, or was it the Wraith's rune? I believe it was the Wraith's rune, turns you transparent after you've struck an enemy. All the others, I have no idea. The Pale White rune, the Scintilla rune, the Rhythm rune, I still have yet to figure out. And apparently there was one more rune, the Omphthalic, I believe is what it's called, that you can find in your cell, but I could never get into my cell. This was unfortunately a bug that Grimrukh has stated. If you kill the Tyrant demon, basically the stray demon in the bottom of the Northern Undead Asylum, before you leave and come back, you do not get the key, or at least in the patch I was playing at the time, you would not get the key to your cell. So in my next playthrough, I should be able to get that just fine. So here we are in the arena where we normally fight the Centipede demon, but you can see we have just one of the undead dragon butts over there. And this is where I am really contemplating what I should do. So I did see that there was an item over by that dragon butt. I didn't see anything else worthwhile necessarily, but that could be anything. That could absolutely be anything. My concern is that I don't have a bonfire all that close. I do have the one by the Pale Lady, or the one further down in the fiery cascades, but that's not that close, and I don't really want to have to make that run back each and every time. So I decide to go and explore just a little bit before I come and decide to fight this dragon butt, although I think I cut that part out. Long story short, there is no other bonfire that's closer, at least not that I found. If there is a hidden one, it's very well hidden. So instead what I'm doing now is I'm stacking as much fire defense as I can, and then I'm also going to use both Elizabeth mushrooms and sunlight elixirs to see if I can't make it through this lava relatively safely. The other item that I will be using is the Cold Tearstone Ring. So it does boost your defenses below certain HP, but also it greatly increases your fire defense, which is the most important part of this entire thing. You can see here, this is what I'm taking off Guinevere's ring and putting on that Cold Tearstone Ring. And here we go. So popping a sunlight elixir, you can see it is doing a great job of keeping my health topped off. Just doing some more testing here. Does seem to last for a good while. You can see the dragon butt does not seem too concerned about me, but look at how quickly my health is going down. Why I didn't stop and heal is beyond me. I could have used an Estus flask. I could have used a sunlight elixir, but I guess we'll try this again. Not worrying about using a sunlight elixir just yet. There's my bloodstain. Still just need to get to that soul item desperately to find out what it is. And at this point I think I'm actually just using an Elizabeth's mushroom, not a sunlight elixir. And Soul of a Dark Wraith, which is good for 5 humanity, but I was expecting a little bit more. And frankly, I was pretty shocked that the bottom half of the undead dragon was not too concerned about me. But I am not one to leave enemies standing if I can help it. So if he's not going to come to me just yet, I'm going to force his hand. And I'm going to force his hand once I actually hit him with a lightning spear. Sometimes I'm rather impressed with my ability to manual aim. Other times, much less so. And let me tell you, I don't even remember exactly what I was saying during my live commentary, but I don't think it was as patient as I sound now. Because you see, once he hit me right here, it was all downhill. Because then he does these stomps. And then when I decide to get a little bit closer, then I get hit again with the tail whip, only to get stun locked by the stomps again. And wouldn't you know, followed by a tail whip into the lava. But I'm not through with him, not by a long shot. Right now I'm on the landmass that most of us would fight the Centipede demon in. It's a much larger place than where I was just fighting. And you know what? Instead of even using my Zweihander, I am finding that the lightning spear is doing a much, much better job. In fact, that's all it took. And I am glad that I killed him because he drops the Lingering Dragon Crest Ring. You'll be happy to know that that is actually the only undead dragon behind down here in Lost Izalith. I just did a quick check there of the description, but it is exactly the same, so I'm assuming the effects are the same as well. And you can see my bloodstain out in the distance, but you know what? After some careful consideration, even though there are about 30 or 40,000 souls and a few humanity, it's just not worth the consumables. And so, until next time, Bloodstain. And now it is time to delve deeper and see if we can't take on that Centipede demon. Now, for all of you who are screaming, "Blue, there's a chest right over there, you're looking right at it." I didn't notice it now, I do notice it later. I will be picking it up once I have a little bit more fire protection. Just running around here, getting to the point where normally we would find Solaire waiting by a bonfire. Sadly, neither Solaire nor the bonfire here. Granted, at this point we know why Solaire isn't here. And in this area and the subsequent area, Grimrukh has decided to take out not just one, but both of the bonfires. The one that is normally right outside that cave is now gone, as is the one behind an illusory wall in just a little bit. I don't know that I fully agree with that decision. In fact, I appreciate what he's done with Lost Izalith, though at the very least he removed a lot of the copy-paste enemies. But I'm not sure I agree with all of them. I saw the item way over here in the corner, and even though it's not an item I'm going to be able to use on this build, I am really glad that I know that this is here, because one of the next builds that I'm hoping to do is going to be a dexterity and intelligence character, so kind of like a curved sellsword type deal, because it's the Runic Great Scythe. The Great Scythe, an excellent dexterity weapon. Runic, definitely Runic weapons are something that I want to play around a bit more with, even though I still have yet to figure out what most of the runes do. Hopefully once I've teased those out, there'll be something that I can employ in some of my builds. Using just an Elizabeth mushroom, it actually does a great job at staving off full HP loss, although I have to top off occasionally, and you can also see when my health dips down just low enough that the Cold Tearstone ring does take effect, and it does a great job at mitigating the fire damage. It doesn't eliminate it altogether, but lowers it so it's just survivable in most cases. And we can hear the pitter-patter coming up here in the Sanctum of Chaos. And we have another one of these wall parasites. Luckily, I finally have some sort of range damage. And here I am once again confused why I'm not seeing the damage numbers, forgetting that they appear above the parasite. And we get a red Titanite slab. That is one of two that we'll be getting in this episode. The second one, very, very well hidden. Although if you've explored Lost Izalith before, you may know exactly where it's at. So I'm trying to carefully traverse these routes in hopes that maybe there is a bonfire, because frankly, getting all this way, having to run across all this lava only to fight a centipede demon without a bonfire, doesn't sound like my idea of fun, but frankly, it must be Grimrukh's idea, because that's exactly what he expects. Now, the route that's directly behind me, there is an item over there. I will be getting that a little bit later. So for all of you who are ready to comment just now, just wait a couple of minutes and then if I miss something, you can let me know. Although I can tell you right now, in post-commentary, the items in the fiery cascades behind the Taurus Demon and the Centipedes, I kind of forgot to get those. But I will get them before I actually go into New Game Plus, but for now, sadly, they're not going to be on camera, and I do apologize. Probably something important too. Trying to make it to this very first landmass. You can see I have to chug a couple of Estus. That is just so much damage. And here's one of the things that I find just a little bit questionable. No, not the fact that this isn't an illusory wall, that's just bad memory on my part. But this corpse right here contains the Pyromancy Flash Sweat. Something that you would think would be incredibly useful in this area. But here's the thing. you can't attune that pyromancy until you're at a bonfire, and since there isn't one exactly close by, we're kind of at a loss. So there's a centipede demon. Ducking my head in here, hoping for a bonfire. Of course, there isn't one. And I'm trying to think, how am I going to be able to fight this centipede demon? I don't have a lot of landmass. I can't fight him fair and square out there in the lava. He will just absolutely destroy me as I stop to heal. Luckily, he still hasn't even noticed me. Having some internal debate here, wondering should I throw a couple of lightning spears his way, or should I just explore and continue hoping against hope for a bonfire, which that's the option that I chose. Sadly, as you're going to see here in just a moment, I was very disappointed to find there is no bonfire, unless it is just very well hidden. And you know what? There probably is one. And if there is, let me know in the comments. I'll go back and look for it, but I felt like I was being pretty thorough. You can see just coming up to the top of this tower did aggro him, although he seems pretty confused as to where I'm at. Gotta love the music. Nice callback to Demon Souls. He's looking for me. Do have a chest over here. I was anticipating Mimic, but nope. Sure enough, it is normal. And it is opened with the melted iron key. Got a couple of twin humanities. I do kind of like the idea that chests are locked behind keys. So theoretically, you could come down here before ever going down through Blighttown and into the depths, which means you wouldn't have this key. And then you'd be confused as to why your chests are locked. Now, I kind of lucked out in the progression that I took, so I already had the key when I got down here, but yeah, I kind of like that idea. So I'm going through all of the different options that I can have, and spoiler alert, I am about to cut the video here in just a moment because I spent nearly 15 minutes dancing around this small landmass to see if I could find a good way to fight the centipede demon, and frankly, I just couldn't. Because what he would do is he would throw his large arm at me, and here I am finding the illusory wall, only to find that room empty, but he would actually throw his arm at me. It has incredible range, and try as I might, I could only land, I think, maybe 2 blows, and he hit me numerous times. You can just see here in a moment the range that he has is incredible. Absolutely absurd. So I decided to cut my losses. You can see I only got a little bit of his health off. I am really low in Estus, and at this point I'm looking over at the escape, and I'm going to take it. So as long as he doesn't take notice of me, I'm going to roll my way through the lava to freedom. And we're going to get up near the Sanctum of Chaos bonfire, because that is probably, no, definitely, the closest bonfire to where I'm at now. If I'm being completely honest, the live commentary talked about how I wasn't even going to fight the centipede demon. I was going to give up, because I just did not like the way that this fight is laid out. And if he still drops the orange charred ring, which, again, spoiler alert, he does, why in the world would I have to get the orange charred ring in the middle of a lava lake? Once I have that ring, it's almost useless. It's almost completely negated because I don't have a reason to explore the lava. Well, it turns out I do, but I don't know. Don't know that I fully agree with that decision. We'll talk more about it once I do go back and fight the centipede demon, because I do, but I actually did it after I already defeated Lord Gwyn. So you're gonna see my equipment looks extremely different, and that's because it wasn't until after Lord Gwyn I decided, alright, I think I have a tactic that will work, and it does. So I'm back here in the Sanctum of Chaos. There's a couple of things we're going to do here. Of course, we're going to go to a bonfire and heal up, get all of our Estus back. Also trying desperately to use the runes to no avail, which is odd because if you can't get the Sable rune to work, you would think that the Lustrous would work, and vice versa, but I don't seem to be having luck with either. The one item directly above me is the one item that we're really trying to get to, though there is one more hiding in the corner over here. And the other thing that so far we've been missing is the Sunlight Maggot. The one that, had I hunted down, would have prevented Solaire from meeting his fate. There's a few large Titanite shards. Making sure I'm doing a nice full clear here. And I see the maggot back here. Checking all the corners. I do really like all these cut content enemies. You can see very direct inspiration for some of the enemies in Brightstone Cove, Saldora, and Dark Souls 2. We have this one lone Chaos Eater up here. Careful, again, don't want our equipment breaking. Everything's starting to look really familiar. Of course, down there, that is where the Titanite demon is. But over this way, we have a couple of things yet. One is that soul item, or that shiny, that was up on the branch. You can see it just below me here, but also, here is the glowing eye parasite dropping the sunlight maggot. I was so close to saving Solaire. A loathsome parasite that inhabits Lost Isolate that is completely immobile, yet still lives. When worn on the head, it emanates blinding light, which is why it is called the Sunlight Maggot, which is also why Solaire was drawn so much to it. This item can be a little bit tricky to get, so if at first you don't succeed, try again. And even then, if you fail, go ahead and unequip your item and just punch the wall. That seems to work for me. But all it is a Soul of an Exiled Witch, which I used all of mine against the Mournwing fight, and I don't think I'll be using them ever again. They're nice to have, they're fun little consumables, but this stage in the game seems a little bit late. And before we actually cut to a completely different setup, fully equipped to handle the Centipede demon, you're gonna see me, well, I can only call it a YOLO move. I decided, you know what, I don't have any humanity on me, I don't have many souls, I might as well give this one last hurrah. And if I take him out, great, and if I don't, well, so be it. Once again, I'd already made up my mind that I just wasn't going to kill the Centipede demon. And at the time, I was completely okay with that. Some final preparations. Kind of scouting my area here, making sure I know exactly where the different landmasses are if I need to retreat to them. Realizing I'm still pretty high up in the air. I was contemplating rolling off here, but that probably would have been an instant death. Let's pop an Elizabeth's Mushroom. Roll and plunge right through him. Get two really good attacks. In fact, 780 damage is not bad at all. The problem is, I'm pretty stuck behind some of these roots. Now, had I popped a Sunlight Elixir, I may have stood a chance, but because I didn't, death was imminent. But now, with completely different gear, with more fire resistance, and Flash Sweat equipped, I think it's time that we can give this another go. And let me tell you, this went much better than the previous attempt. So there's my Flash Sweat. You can see health still going down, but a bit slower. And as soon as I pop that Sunlight Elixir, my health just shoots right back up. Now the Sunlight Elixir doesn't last for too terribly long, but Flash Sweat does last for an entire minute, which frankly is probably more than I need to take him out. As soon as I see my health start to drop, that's when I know it's time to use another Sunlight Elixir. And the reason I have so many is because of that one Titanite by the Sanctum of Chaos bonfire. It does respawn, and it does drop a Sunlight Elixir and two enslaved Titanite with every kill. So I did spend some time farming him, and it certainly paid off. And I think that's exactly why he has that one respawning Titanite demon dropping the sunlight elixirs. Now, I know that this fight looks a little bit chaotic, and that's because, well, frankly, it was. But every time I see my health start to drop and I use one of the elixirs, I go right back up to full. I am able to kill the Centipede demon, and then I'm just a little bit too slow on the sunlight elixir. Fortunately, victory is still achieved. And I got the Callous Moat, and I got the Orange Charred Ring, the glowing black ring enchanted by a master pyromancer. Since his swords were inflamed by lava from birth, the daughters of Izalith, well, you get the idea, it's actually the same from the first one. But what I was really intrigued by was that it says that it was dropped from Quelos, and that's where the Centipede demon was born. Now, the original description said that, but it didn't make sense necessarily where you fought the Centipede demon. Here, it does make a lot more sense. And here I have the Callous Chaos Moat. Kalos' ring was created from a piece of the life soul, and the abhorrent demon birthed where it fell would have grown until the city itself was fused with its carapace, crushed the flame to temporarily carry heavy burdens unimpeded. So if I were to use that moat, does it just give me unlimited item burden? Or at least, maybe 999, so there's no way I could possibly be overburdened? I'm not sure. Now that I have the Orange Charred Ring, you can see just how slowly my health ticks down. And I explored this place very, very thoroughly. And I'm not going to make you watch all of it because, frankly, the noise would drive you insane. But I do want to show you what I found. So here on this route, which is pretty close to the entrance, got a Soul Veloc Cleric and a Sunlight Elixir. And then, I think even better hidden, in a section that normally was guarded by many of the undead dragon butts, I almost turned around. I was running through this area behind the roots, and I just barely glimpsed the shiny way over here in the corner. You can see kind of where I am with that pillar in the background, but another red Titanite slab. I've gotten more red Titanite slabs than I think regular slabs, if I'm not mistaken. Back in the Fiery Cascades where I fought the first undead dragon butt, here's the chest, making sure that it's not a mimic. Using the Melted Iron Key yet again, and we get the Pyromancy, Power Within. Taking a look here just to see, does it say exactly the same thing? And it does seem to. So, it does seem to raise your attack at the cost of HP per second. Dark Souls 1 definitely had the best version of Power Within, possibly even the most broken version. Now I'm going to be doing a couple of quick errands. So here I am back in the catacombs. I decided it's time to replace the Pale Eye Orb. I've already gotten all the statues that I can, and it says here that the Pale Winged Servants can resume their duties at Senseforge. And I did test this, and now the gargoyles will take me to and from Sense Fortress and Orlando. Not that I really needed it this time. But speaking of Sense Fortress, I was told by some viewers about this item. Very, very well hidden. Up towards the top of Sense Fortress, you have to drop down from this grate, and on this rafter, we get Rendal's Ring, formerly known as the Ring of Steel Protection. And the Ring of Steel Protection mentioned one of my favorite characters, which was Night King Rendal, and I'm so glad that Grimrukh actually named this ring after him. I just love this brief story that we get. This ring belonged to the Night King Rendal, who once marched on the Sunlight City with his legion of Baldur Knights. Grants its wearer additional protection against physical and lightning attacks. Of the many legends surrounding the Night King Rendal, one of the more well-known speaks of his standing down a giant drake and slashing it to pieces. I mean, Knight Rendal was just such a cool character, and I wish we could have met him. Down at the bottom of Sense Fortress, on this corpse that is only now here thanks to the most recent patch, I believe, is the Rusted Iron Ring. Definitely could have used this a long time ago. I do check it just to see if it is the same. It does appear to be. But this was added in the most recent patch. So even if you don't get the ring from the statue in Firelink Shrine, Rusted Iron Ring is here in Sens. But it is time to begin wrapping up our playthrough. So I'm here in the Abyss. I did decide to join Kath. Unfortunately, I still think that I missed out on an item with him, which is a shame. You'll all have to tell me exactly what I missed. But I breezed through all of his dialogue. He does have quite a lot of it. But here we are, just below Firelink Shrine. Kath does tell us it's time to place the Lord Vessel, which is what I'm about to do. Then, of course, I have to feed all the souls, and we're going to change our appearance because I wanted to pay tribute to, well, probably my favorite NPC in the series. You all know. You're not going to be surprised when I show it to you. But in just a second, I'll take on that form, and we're going to travel through the Kiln of the First Flame and take on Lord Gwyn himself. By the light of the Lord Vessel, you permanently have the ability to warp. Oh, thank goodness. Humanity restored, and here I am, the Warrior of Sunlight himself, unfortunately with a Sunlight Maggot. I did want to take on the role of Solaire for this final fight, since he won't be able to join us himself. Now let's talk about the Kiln of the First Flame. In the vanilla game, you fight a few Black Knights along the way. There's actually some Black Knight armor that you can pick up. But it's a rather long run to Lord Gwyn with just a few enemies in the way, and Grimrukh decided to make it even more lonesome by taking all the enemies away. Which, in the lore of this mod, it does seem that it makes sense that the Black Knights would no longer be here, because it seems that the Black Knights regret their decision to follow Lord Gwyn, or maybe it wasn't even their decision at all. Maybe they were forced or coerced into following him into the Kiln. But you can see it is just completely empty. It's completely devoid of all life, friend or foe. At least until we get a little bit closer. I wanted to be thorough, make sure I was checking all of the corners. Now over here where we would get the armor set, there is a shiny, so I'll have to go and take a look and see what this is. Oh, another Soul of a Chosen Undead. That is the second one we found in this playthrough, the other one being on the other side of the reflection pool in the DLC. And do you know what happens when you stop paying attention? We'll have to try that one yet again. I was looking so carefully for any other item or any NPC, anything to show up, that I just casually walked right off the corner. Nothing up here, but lo and behold, finally I see a Black Knight, but it's one of the transparent ones that we've seen, and he's non-hostile. I can't interact with him in any way. I can't target him. I can't talk to him. He's just here. And this is when I start to realize the ring that I am again wearing, Guinevere's ring, it talked about the Black Knights, and it talked about how I was going to summon the ghosts of the disgraced during a particular battle, and I got really excited. I thought, the Black Knights are actually going to join me in a fight against Lord Gwyn. Well, I think this is a case where I kill him a bit too quickly, because as I've read online, that's exactly what's supposed to happen, but frankly, it does not. Even though you may have seen this 1,000 times, I'm going to let this fight speak for itself. And as he disintegrated into dust, I thought there must be a second phase, there must be another boss fight here. Unfortunately not. Victory achieved. I get the Soul of Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder. The Black Knights never joined me. And the Ashen Ring has been cleansed by heat. You can see that the bonfire did appear just like normal, but the doorway is not covered by a fog. And that's because you're not forced into New Game Plus at the end of this mod. You have choices. If there are anything that you want to go and do and wrap up, you can go do that. You don't have to end your cycle here, and I very, very much appreciate that. That's something that I think the remaster could have and should have done very easily. But Grimrukh has done it, and I appreciate that. I thought maybe Guinevere's ring would change description, but nope, it says the exact same thing as it did before. So I'm not really sure what it meant by the action ring has been cleansed by heat. If something else has changed, please do let me know. But it is a shame that I killed him so quickly that the Black Knights did not join in. I don't know if it is based on time or if it's a percentage of his health and I just got him down too quickly. I frankly don't know. I decided I wanted to go and check and see if they were even still out here waiting, and well, it does seem that they are. Still not hostile. And they do have HP values. It just seems that I cannot inflict any real damage, even though the damage numbers do appear. Very peculiar indeed. I thought maybe I had a different ring because the Ashen Ring had been cleansed. Nope. No changes from what I can see. But what about the soul that we got? The annals state that Lord Gwyn bequeathed most of his power to his allies and children, but retained just enough to make one final, selfless sacrifice. Even a remnant of Gwyn's soul contains great strength. Use it to temporarily invoke the power of the first flame. I run around the kiln thinking maybe there's some other secret. This can't be the end of this playthrough. It's been far too enjoyable just to leave it at this point. But as you're going to see here, there's just nothing left. I really have had an amazing time with this mod, and I think Grimrukh did a fantastic job, and I'm so glad that I was able to play this and that I was able to share it with all of you. And thank you so much for all of the comments and the hints and the tips. It has meant the world that you've joined me on this. And we will continue on stream, but for now, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.